Punishment from Mother Nature for the sins of all humankind. I've heard sort of climate change activists say it, that it's Mother Nature keeping us in check and telling us that, yes, we can limit our air travel and we can limit our emissions if we only try to. We can do it for a virus and not climate change, etc., etc. I find it all terribly biblical and apocalyptic in a funny sort of way, you know, like Mother Nature is this deity that's sort of a vengeful God and wreaking vengeance on humankind, etc., etc.
Now, Prince Harry, he suggested that COVID was Mother Nature's punishment as he launches his new Nature channel. Have a look at what he said.
It's been a universally tough year for everybody. You know, someone said to me right at the beginning of the pandemic, it's almost as though Mother Nature has sent us to our rooms for bad behaviour, to really take a moment and think about what we've done. It certainly reminded me, as it has probably reminded all of us, how interconnected we all are. Not just as people, but through nature. We take so much from her.
Let's put him aside right now. Back to things that are a little bit more important.
I just got that on video. What was that?
What was that?
That's a big gun.
The boom heard around central New York. Good evening, everyone. I'm Christy Casciano.
That humongous boom rattling the region.
Did you hear it? That mysterious boom heard for miles. Calls were coming in from all across central New York about the noise. It shook windows. It rattled our pets.
Oh, I hope I got that. I just saw a comet. Holy cow, I think that was a shooting star, but in the day.
He heard an explosion that shook the house.
They're from Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Canada, and they also heard that boom.
If you felt a boom on Wednesday and can't describe it, you're not alone. Scientists say a meteor broke apart somewhere over Syracuse, New York around noon, and the resulting explosion could be seen, heard, and even felt in 5 states, including Maryland. People in some areas could see a fireball. Others describe the sound as being similar to a clap of thunder.
A brightly burning meteor has been caught on camera in Japan. The fireball can be seen through the clouds for a few seconds before it exploded, lighting up the night sky. A similarly bright shooting star was seen in the sky above Tokyo earlier this year.
Indonesia's Mount Ile Lewotolo has erupted, sending 4 kilometers of smoke and ash into the sky. This comes 8 years after the volcano in the island of Lemata last erupted in 2012.
On Lembata Island in Indonesia's southernmost province, this is Mount Ile Lewotolo. Thousands usually live on the slopes of the volcano, accustomed to its quiet grumbling close to their homes. But days ago, a large eruption triggered panic among the local population. Ash shot more than 4 kilometers into the sky. Indonesia sits on what's known as the Ring of Fire, which makes it vulnerable to frequent seismic activity. It has 147 volcanoes, and several have been highly active this month. 4 volcanoes across different islands are now on the 2nd highest alert level.
As we go to air tonight, bushfires are bearing down on Kingfisher Bay Resort on Fraser Island. The hotel is closed, with guests ordered to get out while they still can.
Fraser is now a fortress. Unless you're a resident, you can't go over.
Weather records fell over the last 24 hours as Sydney sweltered through its hottest November night ever. Paramedics were stretched to full capacity, receiving more calls for help than the average Australia Day or New Year's Eve.
Well, predominantly it's part of most parts of New South Wales. Fires are continuing to rage across the state.
Yeah, Rob, just on that, I guess there's a sense that this fire season can't be anywhere near as bad as the last one. There's nothing left to burn, but that's not the case, is it?
No, clearly not. Those grasslands, which make up a huge part of the state, weren't even there for the last few years. So,
heat waves are not unusual in Australia at this time of year. But with late November temperatures setting records.
Now to that explosive new wildfire in Southern California. It's being fueled by ferocious winds, including a gust of 95 miles an hour.
It's already been a record-breaking wildfire season in California, and now fire crews are dealing with at least 3 new out-of-control wildfires.
powerful winds pushing the flames in all directions, scorching an area larger than 3,000 football fields overnight.
This has already been one of the worst years for wildfires in California's history. More than 4 million acres have burned statewide this year alone.
Fires are also raging in Australia. Crews are working to put out brush fires burning on Fraser Island. It's the world's largest sand island. Local media reporting the fire has spread to over 197,000 acres of land. That's more than half the size of the island.
In a special BBC broadcast, Antonio Guterres also said that there is no vaccine for the planet.
2020 has been a year of dramatic weather extremes.
To put it simply, the state of the planet is broken. Dear friends, humanity is waging war on nature. This is suicidal. Nature always strikes back.
The UN's annual climate report read like a list of natural disasters. Record hurricanes in the Atlantic and Central America. Record wildfires and record temperatures. California alone saw the biggest fires in its history this summer and the hottest air temperature on the planet in a century, if not ever. And this year has seen higher temperatures the world over, on land, sea, and especially the Arctic.
Biodiversity is collapsing, deserts are spreading, oceans are choking with plastic waste, and apocalyptic fires and floods, cyclones and hurricanes are the new normal.
Terrible wildfires raged across Australia, burning vast areas, and there were huge wildfires in California and even Arctic Siberia. The UN Secretary-General says the world now faces a moment of truth.
Wildfires have once again returned to Australia, along with record-breaking temperatures. The apocalyptic scenes of last year still raw. While there is no vaccine to fix the planet, 2020 has proven human beings are capable of drastic action in the face of a crisis.
Oh, here comes the police. The question now, how would the police disrupt this much larger group?
Come on, boys! Let's go! Let's go!
The rule of two is something they've never had to implement before.
We start in France, where the government is under pressure after police clash with protesters in the capital, Paris. Demonstrations erupted over a new security bill that would restrict the right to publish images of police officers.
Police and demonstrators clash violently as night falls in the French capital. Journalists and participants document the events, publish videos and images. Some might call this a fitting end to a day of protest for freedom of expression and against a new security bill. This would make it a crime to publish a photo or video of the face or any identifying element of a police officer with the intent to cause harm. The protest began peacefully. Media organizations and human rights groups organized marches across the country. Tens of thousands gathered in Paris alone.
Look, everyone's writing to me. Just a quick one, because we'll talk in the new year about this. Quick one to my viewers about what's called the Great Reset. Everyone's writing to me. Just a couple of thoughts on that.
Well, the Great Reset is going to be the segue from the pandemic. Now that they've got everybody obedient in terms of not leaving the house and doing what they have to do, and we've seen actions from the police in Victoria which are unthinkable in this country. So there's a segue from there into making sure that we control our emissions, that we do what we're told to do with regard to the great, what they call the Green New Deal, which essentially is to pursue policies which are going to be extremely expensive and draining on economic activity.
I think your words were a fascist experiment being pushed by controlling elites.
I don't think that's an exaggeration.
No, I don't think either.
L'accord de Paris
pour le climat est accepté.
It is 5 years since the world came together in Paris to agree for the first time that every nation needs to play a part in tackling climate change. Some progress has been made, but not enough, according to the UN Secretary General.
Every country, city, financial institution and company should adopt plans for transitions to net zero emissions by 2050 and take decisive action now to put themselves on the right path.
It is a bold agenda, putting tackling climate change at the very heart of the United Nations role. But the science is clear, the Secretary-General will say, unless the world reduces emissions, we face disaster.
You know, and I'm sure everyone's interested in that. That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a subject which we've covered a lot of, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it, yeah.
Another mysterious monolith has appeared, this time in our very own backyard in San Luis Obispo County.
Well, another monolith has popped up, this time along California's central coast. It's made of stainless steel, stands roughly 10 feet tall. This is the third structure of its kind to appear in the last few weeks, and the second in the U.S. People discovered a monolith in Romania last week, around the same time its twin disappeared from a Utah park. The California structure has 3 sides, just like the one that was here in Utah.
The first monolith was spotted in Utah, weeks after which another sprung up in Romania.
As we enter the last month of 2020, the year is throwing a new curveball. A mysterious monolith has appeared in Atascadero.
It's a great way to get people to go hiking.
It's unclear who or what brought it up, but hikers have been climbing roughly 2 miles up Pine Mountain all day to take a look.
Some think it's just an artist at work. Others have theories that are, well, out of this world.
A metal artisan is weighing in on this monolith mystery, or who or what could be behind it. Dan Patterson, founder of Santa Barbara Forge, hammered out some possible options. He says the metal structures could be a 6-sided love letter from the universe, or perhaps the work of space aliens. He says the images he's seen are so perfect, he's trying to wrap his head around how they're made.
Could be very difficult. You know, we're getting into the mysteries of, like, say, maybe Stonehenge, how they might have done that. I see this as really part and parcel of that kind of oddity that the Earth throws at us that we just don't have an explanation for.
And Patterson and his crew specialize in custom, heirloom quality gates, railings, and other metal pieces, but so far they say no orders for a metal monolith.